All right, that was the it. Abrupt. Or end. End. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. I've been up since like 3:30. I apologize. Good morning, everybody. Hopefully everybody is ready for a good day. Double H seems to be doing all right today. Hello, sir. How are you? I gotta say, I like seeing Solana up 4.37%. I love seeing Ethereum up with the ETH BTC ratio looking hot. And again, if you look in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see Bitcoin ain't doing too shabby either. This is all after closing down the government last night. I do think good things are coming from that. I want to start off with that right now. I've got a graph up here showing the different parts of the government and the impact of the shutdown. It says what we know so far about who will be furloughed. So we're looking at the EPA getting roughly 89% of its employees furloughed. The Department of Education, which I haven't liked personally for a while, anecdotally, with my daughter hating public school, and the Commerce Department and Labor also taking big hits, with state coming next. We've got Defense, Health, and Human Services. Defense is civilian workforce. I actually think, so I don't think we'll see too much from state down as far as impact goes. But I do think that you could see the EPA get wiped out and the Department of Education. And I'm kind of excited to see both of those things happen. So it's going to be good stuff, guys. Let's keep moving forward because we got a lot to talk about today. Yes, what up, Wildcat Mahone? Dennis Newber, hello, sir. I'm early today. Yes, I started very early. Very, very excited about what's happening right now in markets and what's getting ready to happen in the next 2 months. Again, this is when over 30% of the gains usually come in for the Bitcoin cycle, and it could be a period of 6 to 8 weeks, maybe 10 max. So it's a very exciting time. It's a very exciting time. This is the time where everybody's going to get stupid bullish and be incredibly bullish probably at times where they shouldn't be. And we're going to keep an eye on all that, right? Because we've got 30 plus different metrics that we're keeping track of to let us know when the top's coming. And so far, 0 of them have hit, which we love. Before we get down this rabbit hole and all the other stuff, I just wanted to point out that the CNN Stock Fear and Greed Index is in neutral territory at 52. We've got the Coin Market Cap CMC Crypto Fear and Greed Index just barely out of fear territory, sitting at 42. Beautiful place to be. Again, if you look back over here, you can see that from end of February, all the way over till April, we saw, so a period of like a month and a half, we saw extreme greed, and we are so far away from that. But can you imagine like 2 months of extreme greed once we go through neutral into greed and then into extreme greed? Can you imagine like 2 months of extreme greed? I mean, it happened over here too in November 2024, all the way over till about 12/15 of 2024. About 6 weeks of time. That's what we're talking about, right? 6 to 10 weeks. And we haven't even gotten there yet. So it's going to be very, very exciting just how much money can be made over such a short period of time. The Japanese don't understand Metaplanet. I think a lot of people don't. I mean, in all truth, the Bitcoin per share has not went up that much since July. So with the NAV sinking so much, that's not super helpful, but a lot of that will come back. I wanted to talk here, though, Trueflation, 2.2%, not really a high inflation number. If we hop over here and look at today with U.S. economic indicators, we've got mortgage information, again, applications, refi index, market index, all those are going to be interesting. What is the current mortgage rate? If we look back over here, we can see that historically, we got all the way down to 6.34, and then we popped up to 6.46. So, again, what are we doing this week with it? We'll find out. And it could be up maybe for another week, probably flat. But we also have today a lot of economic data. So at 7:15, we have ADP employment change. So that's happening in about 40 minutes. We have ISM manufacturing data. We've got construction spending. We've got more manufacturing data. That's going to be all the big stuff for today. Other than that, we have inventories. but I'm very excited to see where these things land. Again, we're going to have another issue, which I actually think is probably kind of a blessing. With this shutdown, there's a distinct chance that we miss some data like CPI and other data-related things, which I think at this point in time, I mean, if there's any time where data can come out a little more sketchy, it's probably right now. And I think that not having a lot of data reporting, if we do have the government shutdown last for an extended period of time, is probably not a bad thing. So very excited to see how all that goes. If you guys have any questions in chat, throw them out. Otherwise, we're just going to keep rocking and rolling. Peter Dwan said, most people don't realize that the US dollar just lost 10% of its value in 2025 alone. That's wonderful. We realize that, right? Because that helps 50% of the S&P revenues. And we love that. We love to see S&P revenues up. We love to see companies like Tesla that have a lot of international sales bring in more revenue because of the weak dollar. And so I said this is by design. And yes, we're not done yet. If you look at this graph, this is 2025, the worst for the first half of every year since 1986. So again, worse though in this case equals better because this makes it to where we can become a manufacturing powerhouse again. It makes it to where we can sell our goods overseas for less, or for, I should say, more in convertibility terms. And we want that, right? We want manufacturing to pick up. We've made it that very clear that that's the goal. Especially advanced manufacturing, investment into the United States, pro-growth policies, and we want the weaker dollar. We want the dollar to be weakened against things like gold and Bitcoin. And I think gold has had its turn. We're going to talk about why Bitcoin is next. It's very clear, I think, that gold is topping and that Bitcoin has a ways to go, probably like 200K or something like that. Ryan Detrick says this was the second best September for the S&P going back 27 years. Now, if you'll remember, for September, we called early in August that this was going to be an up month when everybody thought it was going to be the most horrific ever because both the crypto markets and the stock market had, well, especially the crypto markets, had taken a hit in August. It basically front-loaded the pain that normally comes in September. So we crushed it in September. This just goes to show you that you need to pay attention to seasonality, but pay attention to it in terms of its oscillation against its normal pattern, right? So if for some reason August, which would normally be a good month, is just, devastated, then you have to think about the fact, oh, we suffered some of that pain already. This is something that I think people just don't factor in with seasonality. They're like, oh, it says it's going to be a good month. It says it's going to be a bad month. That's what's happening. And they don't take into account what's come before. And it's very important that you do that. Otherwise, you just don't know what the fuck is going on. But this is good, right? We like that. I've also been talking about how we're going to get lower oil prices for a while. We are doing that. This one looks overly dramatic because people love short time frames. It makes the chart look more interesting. But it's not really that dramatic, but it is pretty dramatic, I would argue. I mean, we're heading into the 50s, and I think we're doing it quickly. I've pointed this out before, but this is a descending triangle. We did overshoot it, so it kind of fucks it up a little bit. If anything, what I should be doing now is probably drawing a new floor. Let me see. That's maybe the place to do it. I don't know. I'll have to look at this chart and try and figure out what makes sense. But I do believe, yeah, this is probably the closest. I do believe, let me just adjust right here. I do believe, though, that what we're going to end up seeing is something like this targeted range down into the low 50s in the next several months. And that is going to be hugely beneficial. A weaker dollar, weaker oil prices, all these things are going to help with the economy and firing it back up as rates come down and as we push, again, pro-growth policies and everything else that's happening right now in the economy and all the investments coming in, all the foreign direct investments coming here. And we love that. We don't hate it. Wow, guys, 116,600 on Bitcoin. If you look in the bottom right corner, if we break 117.6, that's going to be beautiful. And then really the final boss is just getting above 120. When we get above 120, we have spent a day above 120, actually maybe two. And so once that rolls over and we start going down, it's going to be a beautiful thing. Sid, hey, thank you for being a member, man. Good morning. Thanks for all you do on YouTube and X. I appreciate you, sir. But yeah, so it's gonna be really interesting times. Let's hop back over here. Look at what else we have. So oil's coming down. We know that. Stephen Miller, I love this man. He just balls to the walls, throws it in your face, does not give a fuck. My kind of guy. He said the first shutdown in world history to demand free healthcare for illegal aliens. I think that's very much to the point. It says tough poll for Democrats on shutdown. New York. This is a New York Times poll. Okay, and this kind of gives you an indication of who's shutting the government down. It says views on whether the Democrats should or should not shut the government down if their demands are not met. All respondents overall, 65% said don't fucking do it. What did they do? They fucking did it. Democrats are almost 50-50. Independents are almost 60%, like don't do it. And then Republicans are 92%. So this is not a winning issue. Yet again, the Democratic Party has decided that they would like to take something that nobody wants and fight hard for it. And that's just wonderful. I hope they keep on doing this. I think it's going to be very good for Republicans come 2026. So let's just take our hat off and thank these guys. Sid, thank you for the $10, man. Another all-time high for me. Keep it up. Awesome, dude. Glad to hear it. I am not quite there yet, but I've got a feeling I'm going to be there pretty quickly if things keep going the way that they're going. Wall Street Engine said the U.S. government has officially shut down for the first time since 2018. So this is 7 years. When the standoff stretched 35 days, roughly 750,000 federal workers could be furloughed each day, while key economic reports like jobs data and weekly claims won't be released. So again, that's some of the data that we're probably going to lose. It says shutdowns typically last about a week. Nobody gives a fuck. And history shows markets often bounce back. On an average, the S&P has gained 13% a year after, including an 11% during the 2018 shutdown. So again, everybody's like, I don't know what people think anymore. But people used to think like government shutdown, the world's going to end, the stock market's going to collapse. And yet in 2018, it actually rallied. And I would argue that we're seeing that right now as well. The government defers about $400 million in daily costs, and the Fed usually turns more dovish when data goes dark. I would agree with that. Got Geiger Capital. I love this guy. He said U.S. government officially shut down for the first time since 2018. Oh no, the government is shut down. Anyway, so true. Gold is exploding. Bitcoin is about to go parabolic. This is so fucking true. This is just showing what happens. There's an offset in here, right? And but with that offset, you can see what happens. Gold goes first, then goes Bitcoin, and that is very much what's happening right now. And gold has went. Gold has went, guys. It's been a great trade. And I guess looking back, hindsight's always 2020. You can always sound really smart when you go backwards, but looking back, it makes sense that gold would have went first, especially with love from India, Russia, and China. The axis of evil loves gold right now. They look at it as their way of still maintaining some semblance of control because they can't have Bitcoin. They can't have something that is uncensorable. That is not the world they want to live in. They don't want to see capital flight, especially China right now. And so they can't trade in Bitcoin. They can't foster Bitcoin. Maybe Russia will do crypto and Bitcoin in general just to try and build up some reserve to hedge, and China might be doing that too. But they can't allow people to use it, especially China. They don't want that, and so they would much rather push gold as a store of value and then devalue the yuan against gold than they would anything else. So looking back in hindsight, 140% increase. This is definitely parabola. If you look, guys, if you just look, like everybody, and including me, talked about how Palantir was so bad and how it was just a blow off top. Well, let's just look at it, right? Let's just do a side-by-side comparison. And gold looks like that, right? Like it's in the same range. Look at this. So when we look at our Fibonacci extensions here, by the way, I'm reading a new book called The Golden Ratio. It is freaking awesome. There's a lot of history about the Fibonacci sequence and not pi, but I think it's phi. I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. I should probably grok it. But there's just a lot people don't know about the golden sequence and golden ratio and all this stuff. And it's really cool. It's really cool to see. But if you look here, so I mean, Palantir, look at where we are, right? Like we're right here between the 2.618 and the 1.618. So we're right here in the middle. And if we look over at gold, I mean, shit, it's done the same thing, right? It's had the same moment of parabola. And I would argue that Palantir is near its top. It's got bearish divergence that goes back to December of 2024. And don't get me wrong, I'm going to buy it like the whole way down. But I do think gold is coming to an end. And I think it would be prudent for people that have made 140% on gold. Guys, gold, when the 2008 great financial collapse happened, gold went down like 30, 40 fucking percent. Well, let's look here. We don't even have to guess this. Let's go back and look here. It's right over here. Maybe it's not 40. It's probably like 30. But look at this. So if you're smart, you realize that, yeah, sure, it's a hedge, right? But it can go down 34 fucking percent. And it's just had a parabolic move. And yet Bitcoin hasn't had its parabolic move. Mustache, I got furloughed today. That sucks, bro. What do you do? What area? I have offers outside if I get laid off. This was needed. Wipe out inefficiency and bureaucracy. So you work for the government and you feel this way. I fucking love that, dude. I love that. Seriously, man. You're a good dude. But yeah, so if we look here, we can see that gold, you can understand very quickly why gold is probably not a smart decision right now. If you're just getting into gold, you've missed the fucking boat, right? And don't get me wrong, it could go a little bit higher. Maybe it hits 4K. I think that's a good number to like fall from. But if that's true, the .618 golden ratio puts us down near $2,500. And I'm not saying this is going to happen anytime soon. Fuck no. I mean, we could meander here for a while. What I'm saying is the real good upside in gold is over. And you should be looking at Bitcoin. You should be looking at crypto alternatives like Ethereum or BMNR or, again, Solana with SOL-T. I would look at stuff like that because it's just going to do a lot better than gold. And again, remember, gold is the store of value for communism, okay? For communism. It is the old way of which communism today is embracing. And we don't want that. Well, I mean, outside of India. India is still cool. Whatever. They're just friends with Russia, and that's okay. But you don't want to embrace the technology that points towards communism. If you have any moral standards and root for humanity, you don't want to participate in that. So again, I would be smart and take some of that money and enjoy it. And if we look too, I don't even know if I have this right now. Do I have BTC versus gold? Yeah, I do. So this is a very important point I need to make too. So a very important point here. If you look, this is a ratio of BTC versus gold. If you look throughout history, let's just do this. If you look throughout history, you can see how Bitcoin is gaining value versus gold. Every cycle, first cycle, second cycle, next cycle. It's just a beast, right? But we aren't even above where we were in April of 2021, okay? April of 2021. Bitcoin hasn't started its run against gold yet. It is very important that you understand this. It hasn't even fucking started. And this has made me think a lot lately about what this cycle is going to look like in the next several months. And I think it's going to be violent because I think there's a lot of people that are going to see the slowing momentum of gold, a $27 trillion asset class. Is that right? I don't even fucking know anymore. 26, 27. Chat, tell me how many trillions of dollars that market cap is now. Because Bitcoin is 2.24. It is like 8 fucking percent of gold. So what happens to Bitcoin when people start taking metal profits? Yes, JDAC. What happens? We haven't even... Let's look at the upside here, guys. What happened over here? What was the upside for this? Straight to the fucking moon. What was the upside for this with the ratio of Bitcoin versus gold? Straight to the fucking moon. What was it over here? Straight to the fucking moon. Gets ready to go higher. Fed raises rates at the most aggressive rate in history. This time, fucking nothing. Nothing. If anything, it looks like it's rolling over. And that is just not reality. That is not reality. You need to realize that this thing will curve up and it will go higher. I'd be surprised if it didn't make it to 70 or 60 at the very least for this ratio. And that is much higher than it is right now. And that's probably with gold going higher than it is right now. Let's say 4,000. So gold still has upside, and this has an asymmetric bit more. Jesse, do you think BTC will top again this month? No, not even close. Will it hit a new high? Yes. Will it be at the top? No. It could be. It might not be till December. It might not be till December. We just have, when I look at global liquidity and I look at what's happening in China and I look at what we're looking to do in the United States and I look at all the pro-growth stuff and I look at just all the momentum behind the markets, this is like melt-up shit. This is where the Fibonacci and golden ratio has never been more important for trying to find tops. Not just in crypto and Bitcoin, but the stock market. Everything looks like it's going to melt up. Melt up. And then eventually, Henrik Jan Berger Nuts, whatever the fuck his name is, he will be right at some point. It will just be 2 years too early for him, but he will eventually be right and we'll have some kind of top, except we won't go into the Great Depression, which will make him sad too, because we'll just have a little bit of a dip to just basically reset, re-oscillate to the downside, and then we'll take off again. And so we've got a beautiful season ahead of us, guys. And I don't know if Bitcoin takes off again right away. We'll see how high we go. It could have its bear market for at least a year, but I could see traditional markets going up a lot into the end of the year and then again resetting and then coming back again. And so I think you need to be ready to buy the dip when that shit happens. I know I will be. Good morning from Florida. Hey, History Guy Scalps. What's up, dude? Mustache? Yes, sir. Echo, say BTC tops at 200K. Rough estimate on when it fails during the ball. Oh yeah, I can give you a really good indication actually. I'll probably do that closer to the end of the stream though. Here's the deal. It's gonna. Fuck it. Maybe I'll just do it right. Let me do it. I can do it this way. I've got it down. I got the ticker down in my corner over here. I'll try and make that cleaner, but I'll just pull it up over here again too. Because I can't show you that. That's probably a good idea. And let me just fix this here. There we go. That's better. All right. So we can get an idea of this. We'll just go to the monthly time frame, and then we'll kill all this. Oh, not that. This. And then just look. So let's just go back a ways and look at the bottoms, right? So back over here, Bitcoin went straight up, went back down to around the 3,000 range. It was like 80%. What is it? Yeah, 80, probably an 85% drop or something like that, right? Over here, again, and here's the thing. So here's something I want to note. I want to note that we're kind of using, at least this last cycle, we ended up using the previous top as the support level. That didn't happen in the other one, but it happened more recently here, and that still very much would be the case. Yeah, we could talk about Smarter Web in a sec. But if you look here, that's what we did over here, right? Like we hit that previous range and we knew that that was going to be a good support level. I would argue that we can be assured again that that is a good support level. Look over here at just the volume shelf that starts at the 70s and how thick it is all the way down to like 56. So I'm going to argue that I think our downside from here is like 30% or something. Now we could go a lot higher. We could go to 200,000, and then if it goes up to 200,000, and then we get all the way down here and drop and hit the 70s or 60s, that would be like a 60+% drop. That would be better than the previous cycle, which was better than the previous cycle, which was better than the previous cycle. So that would be very much in alignment with the trend. But it's not a big drop from here, right? Like 20%, 30% downside doesn't really seem like shit right now. Maybe 40% worst case. And so there's just no chance that we're done here. But we could again, maybe it's 100K. We did have a nice consolidation over here where we do actually have volume. Maybe it only gets to 100K. Maybe we go to 285 and then we drop to 100. That would be very painful for people. But for us right now, that would be a 10% drop from where we're at. So it wouldn't feel that painful to us. Mark Newton got a little bearish for November. Interesting. Why? I might not have watched that video. Maybe we'll have to pull it up. Smarter web and frustration. So I get it. The Bitcoin treasury companies have sucked. They've sucked because the volume basically just deflated out of them. And with the volume gone and the volatility gone and just straight down, it has been horrific. And Metaplanet's been that way, and so has the Smarter Web company. But we're developing divergences that are appearing on the weekly time frame that are really good, and everything's going to start sailing. And when that happens, again, we're at almost 117,000 in Bitcoin right now. We're getting ready we're firing up the engine of volatility again. And the last time this happened for the treasury companies, they did really well. I think it makes sense, though, that maybe miners go first and the HPC stuff goes first. And maybe we start to see some altcoins going first, too, like Solana with an ETF coming soon. I could see that, too. Let's keep rocking, though. We got a lot to get through. I've gotten distracted pretty quickly here. It's all by the dip, guys. You should be heavily allocated right now to crypto, I think. Again, not financial advice, just my thoughts. Seth Golden said, Goldman Sachs, all about earnings per share. 2025 market rally has produced record high valuations, but S&P valuation has expanded the least of developed markets. Also, SPX gains have the greatest correlation to EPS growth when compared to foreign markets. This is not 1999 or 2000. So what he's saying is, essentially, we're actually seeing increasing earnings. That wasn't the case in 1999 and 2000. The dot-com bubble was a bubble because the reality was Pets.com wasn't going to be anything. And there were like 99% of the others that weren't going to be anything either. And so it was very easy to see the bubble there. It really was. When I look back, I was a much younger person in that time frame at the dot-com bubble, but my dad wasn't interested in investing. And so I watched this stuff, and I knew nothing about what I was looking at, but I remember it very well. And so I can refer to that point in history from like a personal perspective that younger people cannot. And I think if there's anything that comes with age, it's the fact that you have experiences that other people don't. And so if you know something about those, you can benefit really well. And it didn't look like this. AI is very real. Will it be a bubble? Fuck yeah, it will. Does it take years? I don't even know, honestly. But if the market melts up to 7,500 in the S&P, I'm going to assume that one is formed. And I'm going to have some good hedges in place and definitely have more cash. And then again, it depends on where other things are in the market for where the rest of that money is. But this is beautiful. This is not bad. This is not something to be scared of. You shouldn't run away from this. You should embrace it. Real quickly, I think we're going to use this as a segue moment here because we do have Tom Lee, who last night was talking about markets. I think it was last night, yeah. So let's listen to him and get his take.
Good evening, FS Insight family and community. Today is Monday, September 29th, and this is our Macro Minute. We've got a packed week ahead in terms of economic and other events, so let me walk you through that. The first is that on Tuesday, we get Case-Shiller home prices for July, as well as August JOLTS data. Those are going to be pretty closely watched, especially the jobs data for JOLTS. Now, on Tuesday night or at 12:01 a.m. Wednesday morning is the government shutdown. And it looks like it is going to happen. Tom Block has warned that this would lead to some sort of negotiation over time. Now, there are some folks who think that this may be different, but usually government shutdowns are largely ignored by markets. At the time, they're kind of watched, but they have very little lasting impact on markets. But the reason some are worried that this could be different is that President Trump has threatened permanent furloughs. But if we look at markets in general, 1 week into a shutdown, markets tend to be somewhat soft. Here, the average return is minus 0.4, but you can see that 1 month later, almost all of that is gone. So I think you should really view any weakness here as a buying opportunity. Wednesday, we also get global manufacturing from S&P, and then the actual September ISM manufacturing PMI. That's going to be closely watched. And then on Friday is the September jobs report, as well as ISM services. So a lot happening this week. There is Fed speak as well, but Fed Chair Powell is not speaking. And there's earnings as well. But again, none of these are granny shots or SMID granny shots. Now, something that did catch my eye was this post by a pretty well-known AI researcher. Okay, and he's basically saying he's surprised how people are unaware of current AI progress. And I think this flies in the face of many people who think AI is in a bubble. In fact, he's making the opposite assertion. Julian here is saying that instead of a bubble taking place, we might be actually complacent, and we might be at this turning point where AI suddenly generates superior capabilities. So he's calling this failing to understand the exponential. And in fact, the point of his blog post is that this could actually disrupt a lot of jobs. Now, a lot of people did take it seriously. Here's someone who's posting that, look, Julian doesn't tweet much. His track record speaks for itself. He's warning that public discourse is failing to grasp the exponential growth, similar to COVID. And again, this guy, Julian, is someone who spent a decade at AI. So it is something to keep in the back of your head. And basically, they're saying that by 2026, we could see widespread integration of AI into the economy. Now, what does this mean for investment? Let's say that AI, in fact, develops superpowers. I think the first thing is we have to realize that there's an upside ROI case to AI. So instead of AI being overvalued, it's undervalued. That's benefiting NVIDIA, the hyperscalers, the Mag 7. This is also going to spur an accelerated spending cycle for AI. So you have to imagine that power demand is going to surge for AI infrastructure. That's going to be names like GE Vernova and Oklo and nuclear. But it's going to raise questions about AI safety. And that's where crypto and blockchain come into play. As you know, this is something even A16Z has promoted in a recent white paper. They said this is 11 crossover cases for using AI and crypto. Okay, and this is basically to manage AI. And in fact, many are positing that Ethereum could be one of the keys to decentralizing AI. And finally, keep in mind that there's going to be distributional consequences, which is job losses, and that's going to make the Fed dovish.
Sure.
Already, Accenture has announced pretty...
Oh, I just want to take note of that real quick. So yeah, dovish Fed, jobs continue to decline, but we're also pulling away illegal aliens that are keeping the lower end of the wages down. So wages are going up, but number of jobs is going down. Fed continues to lower rates and just keep chopping away to keep the economy going. And I'll show you some data points probably here in a little bit that show how that will just cause outsized returns. S&P 7,500 feels so close right now.
Pretty expansive job cuts because of employees not keeping up with AI. And again, we cite the paper from last week where the Fed is already noticing that there's been effects from AI on job losses. So that means the Fed is dovish, and that's bullish for stocks. And then as a minor thing, I just wanted to highlight.
This is such bullshit. I wish you wouldn't talk about stuff like this. I doubt this is even fucking real.
China apparently developed a bone glue that fixes fractures in 3 minutes. I think that's miraculous, actually, and that's pretty magical. Something to keep an eye on. So bottom line,
I don't think it's real. You should have skipped that slide.
We stick with the strategy into year-end. AI and crypto, which is Mag 7, Ethereum, Bitcoin, industrials, financials, and small caps.
Yeah, I want.
And that's on a Fed turning dovish. So stay on target. Keep in mind, this is still one of the most hated V-shaped rallies. Thank you.
He's 100% right. He's such a smart dude. His entire team is so smart. If the U.S. government shuts officially down, the U.S. Labor Department economic data releases would pause CPI, and ironically enough, other jobs data would go away too. So somebody might have asked that question a little bit ago. So yeah, you could see both of those disappear. Power for data centers is what I do, said Mustache Dave. That's why a furlough and possible layoff don't bother me, because you've got easy employment. Manny247. Good morning, everyone. RS Sol with the ETF is a great look. Yeah, it is. And that, again, that I don't even know what day that happens. We can look. I've got a reference to that, I think, in a slide here. But Jesse oysters are good for balls. That's good to know. My balls have actually been really wonderful, though. Thank you for asking. It's been a really great experience lately. John said, explain please, SWC went 20x from April to June. Bitcoin barely moved. Nobody was worried. That's exactly, I think you just explained it to yourself, John. I think you just explained it to yourself. It doesn't have to make sense, right? But people were bullish, and because you were literally paying such a high premium for the Bitcoin treasury companies, they ended up just being able to gobble up Bitcoin hand over fist, right? And here's an argument that I'm making. I don't think that's done yet. I just talked about how the Bitcoin gold ratio doesn't even show Bitcoin taking off yet. I think Bitcoin and crypto are going to go gangbusters. I think alts can start to lead that here soon. And I think that I think Bitcoin treasuries will start to gain a multiple again. It's weird, but literally with Bitcoin and crypto, the narrative is the price going up. When the price goes up, all of a sudden, everybody's like, oh my God, I fucking told you. This was coming. You should have listened to me. Look at all the money I'm making. And just like everything in the investment world, when the lemmings go onto X and they see big double-digit percentage gains, and if you were one of these people, hey, don't feel too bad. I've been there too. Emotionally, you want to be there. You want to be where it's green. And so you throw away your thesis and you jump over to that next fucking thing. And then people are already out of that because you hadn't really researched that. People had been talking about it for 6 months or a year or 2 years. And then it all of a sudden happened and you got in 80% of the way up. But they're already moving on to the next thing. Your stuff starts going down and you're like, oh shit, that looks so green over there. And you're like, you're on to the next one. And then you get 80% of the way up in that move. And this is what happens when you chase. And this is why traders lose so much fucking money. And I think I've been somewhat guilty of that as far as my timing this year, and a number of things, because you grow impatient and then you move on to the next shiny thing. And so I think I don't know why I'm heading down this point and trying to make this point to people, but I think that's what's happening with SWC. I think that's what's happening with Metaplan. I think people are tired and they're looking for the next shiny thing. And these things dropped a lot longer than people expected, definitely myself. But I think what will happen is we'll eventually have rotation and it'll come out of the miners and the HPC plays because people are just going to make a shit ton of money off of those. And again, altcoins and just other things that are multipliers. And they'll go, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to jump into Metaplanet now, dude. Look at Metaplanet. Hasn't went anywhere. And it's like a coiled spring. And I think people are getting bullish. Bob started talking about it. John just said something the other day. And then all of a sudden, that thing starts taking off. The price goes up. And the price is the new fucking narrative. Everybody loves it again. And everybody shows you how much money they make. And the only difference is you're at the fucking bottom of it right now. And if you could just be patient, you can get those gains and not jump into the 80%. And that's where I think we're at right now with a lot of this stuff. That's the mentality I'm trying to use right now. And I wish my timing would have been better this year. I would have been able to capitalize more. Yeah, Tesla's a great example of narratives. They can take years to play out sometimes. I want to jump to this real quick. Joyd Reid warns of dangerous MAGA plans, guys. Listen to the beginning of this. Listen to the beginning of this. She's just listen.
is that if you go back before the 20th century, there were no income taxes, there were no regulations on business. You could earn as much money as you want, leave 100% of it to your children with no taxes. Right. That's the world they want back. And
yes, that is the world we want back. One where we don't have a lot of taxes, where the government is smaller and not involved in our lives, and Netflix isn't pushing transgenderism on fucking 7-year-olds. Yes, that's the world we want to go back to. Listen to the rest of this, though. What she goes into for the response is like the shit that communism and socialism cause. So she tries to say they want to go back to this world, and it's going to be like communism and socialism. Let's listen real quick. 1 minute till ADP, guys.
To get it back, they need society to change. They need people to be less modern. They need people to want fewer things.
So people have to want fewer things and be less modern. You know what that's called? Russia. China. Okay? That's what that is. But that's also the platform that they would like you to think is the right one. It's nice that bar chart's starting to notice that, you know, it's actually technically 1979, but whatever. It's good that other people are starting to notice that we're getting toppy on gold. It's really good for crypto, guys. Let's jump over real quick. We'll check ADP employment. Refresh here. I remember us all talking about it when we were in the low 100s. That was to Alex Garcia. Yeah, we always keep it real, though, on this channel. Again, I'm not perfect. I've actually not done really well over the last 2 years, which is a bummer. But I did make 600% in, what was it, 2023, I want to say. And then 2024, I only made 54 or 56%. And then this year has sucked. But I have no doubt that I'm still going to get to my $12 million goal. And I don't think most people can say that. And if I'm right, I'll still have 2x'd Bitcoin over the entirety of the time that I've been tracking my portfolio, which is pretty hard. Where were we here? All right, so mortgage rates, 6.46. Is that right? Yep. So just up a little bit, not a big deal. Still way down from where we were before. If we just look over here. Let's go back. Let's do the 5-year. So again, we were at, the peak was in the end of 2023 at 7.9%. So we got all the way down here to 6.2 something or 6.34. And now we're at 6.46. Not a bad number. All right. Applications down. Not surprised. Refinance index down significantly. Well, I mean, from two really good peaks. I can't even say significantly. Let's go back over here. You know, I can't say it. It's the third best fucking read we've had going back to the beginning of 2022. So I can't really make it sound like it's a bad thing. It's actually still really good. ADP numbers were weak. All right, let's look at that too. How am I not refreshed here? Oh, there we go. ADP numbers, negative 32 versus a consensus of 50K and forecast of 40K. So yeah, that's really weak data. And this is real data. So again, this is just going to make the Fed want to cut rates. I think the markets will like that. Bitcoin sitting at 116,800. Seems pretty positive to me. Mexican business confidence is down. Seems like a reason to print. Yeah, all these numbers are going to be really big. Maytag, good morning all. Let's hit the like button for Jesse. Yeah, that would be great. If you guys could do that, that'd be wonderful. Thank you. And the stream, I seem to have got it working, I think, so we shouldn't have all these problems with us locking up like we've had in the not-too-distant past, as recently as Monday. Main stage news, what do you think it will do over the next 3 to 6 months? Or TLT? Oh, TLT, I think, my hope. What do I think? I don't know. What do I hope? I hope it won't do much. Let me restore connections. I've got too many fucking tabs open, like 200 or something. Let me see here. So again, we got chopped down a little bit. What I hope will happen is we'll continue to see weakening data in the U.S. government between now and the end of the year, and maybe it's strengthening into the end of the year. But I hope that like late October, early November. This thing hasn't broken out yet, and I can be moving some money into it because I think what I'll be seeing at that time is that the U.S. government isn't in that bad a shape, and people will understand pro-growth policies work, low tax environments work, giving every company in the world a reason to come here from a cheaper dollar standpoint, and from large tariffs being a massive incentive to move. I think all of that stuff is really good. Yeah, people are talking about Backed. What's my view on Backed? I barely looked at it. I probably should. But I think, honestly, where I'm sitting right now between now and the end of the cycle is a good place for me. And again, I don't want to chase things. But I think Mike Alfred is just a money printer right now. And again, he's having communications with the CleanSpark CEO and helping advise them, I think, on their strategy for HPC. So it's just all good, man. There's so many good things right now. I think Mike Alfred's a good guy to listen to. I wish I would have paid more attention to him in the past. Justin, thank you for being a member. You can talk and chat. Victor, BMNR to 500. Haha. Hugs to my two my American homies. Awesome, man. Yeah, let me look over here real quick. Let's see here. BMNR. What are we thinking on BMNR? I just want to see roughly what my price prediction is on it. Barely remember half these things. I do love that we found support here perfectly, right? And now we're up here. We're at a breakout zone on BMNR based on volume, peak volumes. Peak volumes here, but fib here. So we're already above. We're establishing support under peak volumes on the chart, and now we're getting ready to break above the first fib extension. That's going to give us a lot of air. Really, though, we want to get past like 60. 60, once you get above 60, then it's just on like Donkey Kong, because here's what happened. If we get to 60, this is what happened, okay? It's something like this, where it looks like almost an ascending triangle, right? Like, let's just say it ends up looking like this. This is probably the way to do it, right? So like something like this is happening. So we've got an ascending triangle that looks very powerful and heading to the upside, and its measured move gets us up in like the 140 range. So I think the 140 is going to be a good one, man. You love this channel? Thanks, Ben. Appreciate it, dude. But yeah, I think 140 is going to be a good number if we're talking about actual estimates. Waiting for Bitcoin treasuries to explode. I know it's slow and boring, isn't it? Like months and months of pain and suffering. I feel like I should just go on vacation again, and then it'll be better. But yeah, no, TLT, man. I think TLT in the next like year or two could get to 134. And I think this isn't even the right percentage here. But I think I'm going to probably be looking at 2-year leaps on TLT over the next month or so. I'm going to try and identify some options contracts that I like, just as I like a good hedging opportunity where people all of a sudden have faith in the U.S. government again above all else, and they're becoming hopeful in it, and they've got lots of gains, and they're like, you know what I should do? I should lock in some of my gains into some safety. And I believe in America again, and because I believe in America, I believe TLT will go to at least 120, if not up here in the 135 range. Again, this is an historical route. This is a reset. Just like ARCG, something else that I think could do really good and that is near a breakout zone. Josh Mandel gave another magic prediction of 117,777 close high today on BTC. Let's see. That guy. You got to love how verbose he is. He's like a worse version of me. He can get really emotional. That's true. Yeah. He did call MicroStrategy really well, though. And so, I mean, much props for that, at least. All right, let's keep going. We got a lot of room to go here. For your cycle, thank you for becoming a member. You can talk and chat. All right, so we got gold high. S&P returns after federal interest rate cuts resume per Bloomberg. So this says S&P 500 returns after Fed interest rate cuts resume following a pause of 6 months or more. And we were paused for 6 months or more. This came from Ned Davis Research. And it shows the median gain 2 or fewer cuts is decent. But again, you're single digits across some of these spaces. You can see, though, that industrials, financials, infotech, and energy and real estate are really good ones, right? But look at the median gain, 4 or more cuts. All of a sudden, healthcare, consumer staples, energy, utilities, materials, real estate, communication services, all these things start to pick up into consumer discretionary. So again, this is saying that we might have market rotation in the future. So it's just something to think of, something for our plans in the future. Seth Golden, sheesh, semiconductors achieved another all-time high Monday with a 5-day RSI, relative strength index of 83. Hot, hot, hot. The heat is on. Beverly Hills Cop. Nice. He's old, like I am. But again, that's a good thing, right? Like, I don't think you could be bearish when semiconductors are breaking out. That's just me. RS, Jesse, have you seen the 2x BMNU? Could be a good trade on red days. Oh, that sounds like trouble, but also fun. I'll have to think about that. Interesting. Wonder what the volume is. Invest with meh. I'd like to hear your thoughts on the Tom Lee SPAC. FCRS feels odd that it's getting or not getting coverage. Which one is it? Tell me what it's about. I haven't kept track of everything, and I don't love SPACs. SPACs are like special purpose vehicles for getting yourself listed, reverse mergered into a stock to bypass a bunch of rules. Most SPACs are just garbage. I think SoFi was a SPAC though, wasn't it? I think it did all right. There's a few that do all right, but it's just high risk usually. If there's anybody I trust more, it'd probably be Tom Lee, but I don't know. I don't know anything about it. So let me know. Just let me know what it's about, or give me like a link to something. Anyway, Seth said slow rate cutting cycle speaks favorably of economy and confirmed. So again, I think best case scenario, slow rate cut cycle where it's just consistent because we're fighting that steady change in employment. It's not scary. It's like a bottoming pattern. Maybe it lasts months, maybe it lasts quarters. But I think that's actually even more bullish for markets. And then another one would be an aggressive rate cut schedule. But I think that could be bullish for Bitcoin over the short term. So I don't know. With gold topped, I think it could be. So it'll be interesting. Let me see here. And the biggest lever, one that will bring to lows, 50s, and 40s regime change in Venezuela. I should give context to this. So this was about oil futures dropping. So again, OPEC Plus, I'm pretty sure that they're going to do another expansion of oil supply in order to offset the things that are going on between Russia and Ukraine. And they're doing this as a favor to Donald Trump because he asked for it. And I also think that we're trying to overthrow the Maduro regime in Venezuela. And I think that will happen. And I think that we're going to get control of that oil supply. And it is one of the largest on earth. So things are changing. And then next to them, I forget what country is to the east of Venezuela, if you guys know off the top of your head. That country, they just they found oil reserves that might even be bigger than what's in Venezuela in them. It's like New Guinea, I think. Tell me if I'm wrong. Metaplanet has more room to run. I think so. It's just getting smoked tonight. Metaplanet had a bunch going on, guys. We will talk about that in a second. Let me see here real quick. Do I have Fox Business? Let me see if I got Fox Business. Watch live. I want to see something. Oh, shit. Just asking what service I have. 1 second here. Let me see if this works. Watch. I never did sign up for this. I got to do that. Oh, well. Let me get out of this. We can take a look at that in a second. Real quick here, guys. I'm going to use the restroom. I'm going to drop you over to CNBC just for a second and let you guys listen to that.
Relations with China.
I'm just going to see what they're talking about. They're talking about futures declining after ADP. Let's listen to their take on it. Let me know what they say about ADP. Let's see here.
They get a little bit more granular.
Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
I think
Explain what it was.
Nobody
right?
really. No, they did. No, they didn't really want this to be necessarily public. So it is out there now that the Fed does watch this data. So if the question is the Fed flying blind in this shutdown? It's not. It's going to be looking at this ADP data.
Let me just add an amendment to that, and that is, I thought that was the case. The Fed was going to be watching this data much more closely. Is there any effect to your data gathering if the government's shut down? Any of those inputs, does that hurt what you're doing?
No. If the BLS does not put out their report on Friday, it doesn't change our next report because we are not reliant on survey data. Okay. This is an independent measure.
That's why I was confused by the revisions with the government and taking that into account, because I thought you guys just completely ignored it.
And that is true. The BLS relies on their estimate of the QCEW, of the truth benchmark. They rely on survey data from the CES survey. And so these are independent measures. The raw data that goes into these reports are very different, and they're
What does the Fed know that we don't in terms of granularity?
You know, if I could sit in that room, I could have a complete answer.
No, I just mean in terms of the ADP
but you know, the Fed has been vocal in minutes, in official documents. They've actually published research using ADP data.
All right,
so
whatever.
It wasn't a secret.
We're done with that, bitch. Did you guys learn anything from that? Was there anything to take value from in that conversation? All right, and let's roll down through this too. So yeah, I think Venezuela is going to be a big thing. James E. Thorne, my favorite Canadian brother from another mother, says yes, a CapEx super cycle, the big beautiful bill, 100% expensing. Number 2, AR arms race. Number 3, U.S. needs 95 to 100 gigawatt of power. So we're going to be building out power generation. We got the big, beautiful bill that gives us all the corporate tax breaks. We've got the AI arms race. We've got number 4, ignore groupthink Wall Street view that we are in a bubble. Number 5, early days of theme. I agree with all those. He's 100% right. What else we got? Oh, and I shoot back to chat here. Sorry about that. Trump's fault. What's Trump's fault? Invest with Meh. He's trying to acquire AI, blockchain, etc. company who raised $287 million. Right now, it's warrants sold with shares as units. Here's the link for the details. Oh, is that in regard to that SPAC? AI, blockchain, ETC company. He raised $287 million. I'd have to look at the terms because I wouldn't want to get like ASST'd. Even though, guys, I got to say this just for you guys in the YouTube. This looks more attractive right here, I got to say. Like, this is a more attractive level right here. So we did, well, I say we, and I don't know if I'm going to buy any. I'm feeling lazy lately. I just want to kind of stick with what I have. But until it changes. But I mean, this thing went down 82% from its recent high where we were exiting. 82%. And right now it's still down like 78. And it's up 9% in pre-market, and it was up almost 9% yesterday. So this thing could be coming back. I honestly think it could be. So if you want an interesting play, that might be one. All right. I said, if you've ever wondered why earnings are going to be better for companies like Tesla and other businesses have international sales, yeah, just talking about profit margins. Again, great for profit margins. More than 50% of revenue for S&P comes from outside of the USA. It's all good stuff. Let's jump out of U.S. economy. We're done here. Jesse, how about SBET? Was one of our winners a month ago. Yeah, it was good. I don't know how it's going to do. Again, it seems to be lagging BMNR. I just feel like BMNR is the one you want to own. For Ethereum, it's BMNR for me. For Solana, it's SOLT-T. That's what I'm doing. And then for Bitcoin, it's mostly SWC with Metaplanet in there too. And I think both of them, I don't know what is SWC doing this morning? It's probably down. It's still very much in a bottoming pattern. It's just boring. All right, let's see here. You made 10K from your call on ASST. Cool, man. Cool. Glad to hear it. All right, real quickly, I'm going to jump over to Trump. There's just a lot going on there I want to talk about. So, this is great. I love it. Look at these guys. They jumped out of vans. They pulled up just like they're just kicking ass. I really love seeing Antifa getting their ass whooped. Also, kind of important. I told you this was the plan. Trump will use his power like a hammer until the DNC comes to the table and agrees to the terms. He'll probably start doing some percentage termination thing for like the Department of Education and areas like the EPA that's 90% furloughed. He'll probably start whacking those things away completely. That's what I would do. But let's listen real quickly here to what he has to say.
Told you we have $17 trillion being invested. So the last person that wants to shut down is us. Now, with that being said, we can do things during the shutdown that are irreversible, that are bad for them and irreversible by them, like cutting vast numbers of people out, cutting things that they like, cutting programs that they like. And you all know Russell Vought. He's become very popular recently because he can trim the budget to a level that you couldn't do any other way. So they're taking a risk by having a shutdown.
Thanks, Chris.
Because of the shutdown, we can do things medically and other ways, including benefits. We can cut large numbers of people out. We don't want to do that, but we don't want fraud, waste, and abuse.
Yeah, he's saying he's got the hammer and he's going to use it. Also, this is hilarious. This is a picture of Trump just yesterday, and this is after the fucking memes. If you guys haven't seen the memes, have you guys seen the memes? Let's just real quickly. I'm assuming you have, but if you haven't, oh, and I got to show this, guys. This is Nancy Pelosi. Nobody talks about Nancy Pelosi anymore, but can we all, if you're a Republican or a Democrat, if any Democrats are actually still willing to watch me, then you guys are fucking awesome. But watch Nancy Pelosi. We need to get the geriatrics out of office, like now.
I will now turn the microphone over to my friend.
This is real.
And the strongest champion of democracy we have seen in these trying times, and that is House Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi.
Tell that to the Supreme Court. Tell them to the Supreme Court, that decided Citizens United to undermine our democracy. To the distinguished, she
could be hammered.
Excuse me. Okay? Excuse me. And here we are, and I'm honored to join, of course, our champion for all of this, Adam Schiff. As a member of the House staff of Senator Adam Schiff, never before has this legislation been more necessary.
Let's have another round.
Oh my God. So much good stuff. Sorry, I got to pause this. But there's just so many. Oh God, there were so many videos that I wanted to play today. So if you guys haven't seen this right here, this video that Trump did. So just think about this, okay? Right over here. This is after Trump did this to him.
Look, guys, there's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bullshit. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us. They can't even speak English, so they won't realize we're just a bunch of woke pieces of shit, you know, at least for a while until they learn English and they realize they hate us too.
Oh my God, it's just so good, guys. And then, yeah, they had a follow-up to it that was great, but you got to watch this. So this is Jeffries complaining and telling Trump to say it to his face. I'm getting somewhere here, okay?
Mr. President, the next time you have something to say about me.
This is, if you guys don't know who Jeffries is, just think like Timu Obama. He's Timu Obama, and it all makes sense. He totally did. He fucking did. Right here, guys. He said it to his face. They even gave him Trump 2028 hats. So I feel like he got you there, bitch. And then there's another one, too. I don't even know. There's a new one. Trump did another one after that. I don't know where it is. Let me see if somebody's got it. Let's see. Trump. Jeffries. Let's see. There's got to be someone here somewhere. But it's so good. I'll see if I can find the second one real quick. Is it right here? Oh, no. That's just literally him talking. No, I want the good one. Let's see here. Oh, it's here. I think it's here. Let me see.
It's a disgusting video, and we're going to continue to make clear bigotry will get you nowhere. We are fighting to protect the health care of the American people in the face of an unprecedented Republican assault.
He did it to him again. Oh, I love our president, man. I really didn't like him back in the day. A year ago, I hated him, but now he's just the best. All right, let's keep going. So we had an U.S. Army Research Lab employee that founded an app to dox ICE and help illegals evade arrest. So we literally had an app in the store, Red Dot, ICE activity alerts, that was made by somebody at a U.S. Army Research Lab. Oh, my God. So we need to fire a lot of people, I think. And it's safe to say that's happening. Walter Bloomberg, Trump on government spending, we can do things in a shutdown that are irreversible, like he had reiterated earlier. Destroying woke is great, he says. Fixing this and not failing an 8th audit in a row would be even better. Pentagon can account for nearly 63% of $4 trillion in assets. The Department of Defense regularly buys parts and equipment it doesn't need because it can't keep track of the parts and equipment it already owns. If only we had some really rich entrepreneurs that were friends with Donald Trump that could help with this process and make it to where we know what we fucking buy and have adequate inventory and auditing abilities. Seems like Palantir and Elon Musk, with everything he does, and a bunch of other companies could fix all of this and are literally doing that right now. Andrew has nearly 6,000 at University Utah for their Turning Point chapter. I think there's a movement en route, and I'm here for it. So it just seems to me like something's happening. And like all good Nazis, Trump has doubled the funding for childhood cancer data initiative, which accelerates research and treatment. So I heard Adolf Hitler was big on saving the children, too. Ben Guy, Palantir will end that, right? Exactly, brother. Larendris, should I tell my wife I have over 100,000 in stocks or save this info until needed? I think it's always good to update your wife on what's going on. Maybe slowly introduce her with that number and then impress her when the number is much bigger a few months from now. That might be a good idea. Trump has an RX portal that they're going to be spinning up that will help lower the cost of drugs dramatically for people that are paying cash and aren't going through some kind of prescription service. So this is good. I think this is really positive. I think it's more good stuff coming. And Pfizer is going to be a part of that. There's a $70 billion deal on manufacturing medications in the United States. We already talked about Venezuela and the fact that we're preparing for war, but we are very much preparing for war with Venezuela. And like Trump said, when asked about overthrowing Maduro,
happens with Venezuela, we had a lot of drugs coming in through water. We call it water drugs, just a simple term. We don't have any boats on the water. There are no boats. There are no fishing boats. There are no anything. So we hit a number of boats. You probably saw that. And since we did that, we have absolutely no drugs coming into our country via water because it was lethal. And now we'll look at cartels. We're going to look very seriously at cartels coming by land. What happens with...
That was the video I thought it was going to be. So whatever, it was okay. But yeah, essentially he says that they're going to show Maduro what America is made of. Can I suggest a responsible, laughing my ass off, spot BTC treasury ratio for a portfolio? I don't know. I'm in miners. I'm in treasuries for Bitcoin. I've got Solana, which is a 2x fund. I've got Ethereum as BMNR, which again is, I kind of look at it as a 2x of what Ethereum is going to be doing with Tom Lee. And so I've got like pretty diversified on a lot of that stuff. So I don't know, but the ratio, I mean, I think heavy crypto right now is pretty smart. The responsible thing would be to make money. Joanne, I love that his name Trump RX. I know, right? Oh, dude, you know, they'll be willing to pay 10x just to avoid using Trump RX. I 100% agree with that. Larandris, probably stress it will go to dust. I'm careful, though. No shorts, no leverage. Not sure where that's coming from. You guys were having a conversation. Namdaten, do what Captain America does in Avengers. Don't rush to lift. Save info and lift only when needed. Good advice. Ask me, NAD drugs cost way too much. They do, but they're coming down. All right, noobs rushed to lift. Legends wait for a Thanos moment. There you go. Very true. All right, so Ariana Grande was very upset and talking about how bad America is. So this person responded, Libs of TikTok, she said, Ariana Grande, as a Trump voter, I will answer your question. He said, yes, life got better since Trump became president. He secured our border. He's making our cities safer. He banned racist DEI and child mutilation. He's created historic peace deals around the world. We literally blew up the nukes that Iran had. Who thought that was possible? American hostages have been rescued from a number of places. There's been deals. Cut down government fraud, wasteful spending. Yep. Again, pro-growth policies, probably a good thing too. Protected women's sports, secured trillions of new investment into the United States. Yep. Brought back American jobs. Yep. No, I don't regret my vote either. I 100% agree. And then we have in California, no name given. Yes, there are people that are driving all around that got licenses in California who don't even have their fucking name on them. And they can vote because who gives a shit anymore? These are the kind of things that we need to fix. Mark said, first time in chat, grateful to be here. Happy to have you, sir. And this is what's not okay, all right? My daughter shouldn't have to worry about, and my daughter's 11 now, so she's older, but when she was 7 years old, she shouldn't have to worry about this kind of shit playing on cartoons and Netflix that are being geared towards 7-year-olds.
It's not the park. It's me. I'm trans, Norma, and everyone at school knows, and everyone at home knows, and being here, it's like a whole new place. I can just be Barney, and I can choose if and when I tell people.
And if I want to cut off my penis,
and that's saying something when I spent today chased by
and if I want to prevent the ability for myself to ever have kids before I even understand the concept of what being a parent is. This is a dark fucking display of humanity right here. And I don't care if people don't realize it. It is. Just like this is fucking disgusting, right? This is a hike in a forest in Portland. Does this look like a place you want to be? Is this what you want to mirror your fucking cities after? Is this the representation of what is all so good for humanity? This is what the left has to offer, okay? Garbage dumps and fucking misery and hating who you are and what you were born into. So I'm not a big fan. I'm not going to lie. I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of taking illegal immigrants and giving them $300,000 a year jobs and putting them in charge of our fucking kids when they have gun charges. I don't know. There's just a lot of stupid shit out there. And I grow tired of all of it. All right. Let's keep going. Bitcoin. We've got Donald Trump. This is actually a really great video. If you haven't seen this, I'm just going to play this real quick, guys. This thing's amazing. But this is Donald Trump posting about Bitcoin. And he had Max Kaiser at the White House just yesterday, I think. There's shit going on, guys. If you don't understand what's coming, it's very much coming.
What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is the world's first cryptocurrency, and it works because of the world's first public blockchain network. What does Bitcoin do? It's simple. It lets you send and receive value to and from anyone in the world using nothing more than a computer and an internet connection. Now, why is it revolutionary? Because unlike every other tool for sending money over the internet, it works without the need to trust a middleman. The lack of any corporation in between means that Bitcoin is the world's first public digital payments infrastructure. And by public, I simply mean available to all and not owned by any single entity.
his explanation was more than that, but this is a great clip, and Trump's putting it out there. Yes, Max Kaiser was at the White House. Give me a little bit here, and I'll show you a post. Philip Swift, Q4 Bitcoin higher. This is the MVRVZ score. Sorry. And you can see how this has had diminishing results here where, like, again, it was way up over here in this cycle. It topped out a couple times over here in that last cycle. It topped out over there. But it was in red every single time. Even if we made the assumption that we were lower and there was some kind of weird trend here, it would still put us up near the top, near this red. And we're nowhere near that. And this is just one of many different indicators. Again, that's one of just the 30 that we have under here. And then there's other stuff that we look at. So we're a long ways to go. The top could be as high as 350,000. I do agree with that. I think if we're ever going to have a parabolic top that creates some kind of channel with a third point up here, it's going to be now. It doesn't have to happen, though. 285 is probably more realistic if you're looking for a really hyperbolic top. We got Bitcoin just locked at its third best September gain in history. That seems really exciting. And again, previous times where that kind of stuff happened, we had explosive upside. We've got the UK. They could still fuck it up, but now they've taken 61,000 Bitcoin from some Chinese lady from a fraud case. 61,000 Bitcoin. And so they've got a Bitcoin reserve, essentially, that they could hold on to and stockpile. If I was Keir Starmer, I would do that, but he's a fucking moron. So who knows what'll happen. We got Strategy increasing their dividend on STRC, up 25 bips to 10.25%. That's a pretty good yearly return, guys. I'm going to watch this today. I haven't actually watched the whole thing, but it is really good. It's Michael Saylor talking for an hour and 30 minutes in his latest interview with Bitcoin Magazine. I definitely recommend it. I'm going to finish it up here today. The SEC is reportedly moving to allow stocks to trade like crypto, where stocks would trade on-chain. Under the new plan, investors could buy tokens and crypto exchanges that represent shares of companies like Tesla or NVIDIA. So again, we're pushing further for this. Hood will be definitely a benefactor of that. Eric Trump just literally telling you that crypto is changing the world right now and that you should be heavily invested in it. That's all. Just the son of the leader of the free world, who's probably one of the most powerful American presidents in history. And I think that's only going to increase. So if you hate him, just lock in for the next, 39 months, because it's going to be a long one. Tether, the issuer of USDT, has reached 8,888 Bitcoin for $1 billion in Q3. So they purchased more, I'm sorry. So again, they're just $1 billion going into the largest private company on earth. And then I put the next 2 months will change lives. And what am I saying by that? Here's Bitcoin seasonality. If you'll notice, it's a good 2 months. And this is made especially so. The majority, the reason this average is so fucking high for the seasonality is because of this year. Out of every 4 years, this is the year that makes this thing fucking go up like ape shit. And that pulls this average up so high. So October and November are in front of us. We already had our August, and then September started to improve. Well, now we're getting ready to rock it. October, November, and even a chance of December. But again, weather gets a little more murky in December. But it's beautiful. This is a beautiful time to be alive. We already talked about the gold ratio, yada, yada. Again, we could kind of top over here, guys, in the 120, upper 120s. We could have a temporary top, or we could break above that and turn this into support and go up into the 140s. If we do that, then my bullish targets are going to get higher. If we get up quickly, and by quickly I mean like next 3 weeks maybe. If we get up to 148 in that time frame, then it gets weird because our next fib level, if you look here, is just air. And we can make a smaller fib actually that'll probably help with that. But I'd say the 180 to 200 range will probably kind of be the next zone. There will be more, so I can draw it a little tighter, but like the broader cycle top is going to be in between here, the 148 and 285 range most likely. All right. Oh, I guess you can barely see that because I'm not showing that on my main screen. All right, whatever. Sorry, I was looking over here, and I just kind of forget that you guys can't see that. Anyway, let's keep going. Yeah, so here's Max Kaiser saying heading to the White House to brief Trump's team on El Salvador's Bitcoin miracle. That's his lady. So yeah, he is very much at the White House. And I have no doubt he's pitching it. We got Mara being featured in Forbes. This is what you're going to start to see. By the time it's made it to Forbes and Bloomberg and these other things, probably 60, 70% of the gains are in. And not for this yet, though. This is still very early. But once you start to see these like proliferate across all these different platforms, and they start posting this stuff all the time, that's when you'll start to be getting closer to the top. And again, it's exciting, though. They're actually starting to talk about AI infrastructure and really push this narrative. So it's nice to see that we're getting this extra tailwinds behind the Bitcoin miners. I think that's probably good for this. Yeah, we've done the rest. Let's go here. What else we got? A little bit of geopolitics. Let's go to AI and chips. This is Kyle Bass. He's brilliant on China. He knows them really well. He knows their weaknesses. He knows their strengths, and he's pretty honest about them. But he said China's top chip offering is 32x slower than NVIDIA's Blackwell chips. Huawei can't steal its way to the top. They can't even get close. I 100% agree with that. They're not even close. Evans said CoreWeave has signed a deal to supply Mark Zuckerberg and Meta platforms with $14.2 billion worth of computing power. CoreWeave up 8% in pre-market. That's pretty exciting for the HPC type plays. And then we've got, in the startups, we've got vibe coding startup Anything nabs $100 million valuation after hitting $2 million ARR in its first 2 weeks. I can see a lot of this in the future. A lot of small companies being spun up off of AI ideas that very quickly, with a small number of people, turn into a massive, what was that number that we were talking about the other day? Revenue per employee. That's going to be a big thing going forward. And these small startups are going to have some of the best numbers. We've got Sam Altman saying a staggering 250 gigawatts of compute by 2033, an amount that would be equivalent to 1/3 of U.S.'s peak power consumption. That's a lot, and it's all coming towards us. And I agree with that. I think, if anything, it might be too low. Grok is winning in a bunch of different things. We looked at that. Let's jump over. I want to go to Tesla next real quickly, and then I probably should hit up Ethereum and Solana too. But Franz talking about Optimus progress. It's 26 seconds. Let's listen.
I mean, it's been incredibly fast-paced, but the progress is unbelievable in the short amount of time that the team has been working on it. And we've been growing the team and building the project at the same time. And I think the things that we're working on are really incredible. And I think we're breaking ground in this space every day. The team is really energized and fired up. Elon's incredibly involved in this, and it's a great project to be a part of. And seeing where the future of humanoid robots is going to go and how it's going to enrich our lives is super exciting.
Agreed. And then we've got this week, I think.
What do we want? FSD14! When do we want it? Now! Release FSD14! Release FSD14! Do we want it?
I like this kind of protest more than the other stuff. We also have Elon Musk confirming that XAI is going to be incorporating Grokopedia, unbiased intelligence for all. I love that. I think that's just a wonderful concept. Right now, there's such a skew on Wikipedia, and then again, there's news sources that are also causing a skew towards the left. I would like us to get as close to the center as possible, not too far to the right. So having something like Grokopedia is really important. Having news sources that are getting included in Grok and maybe given heavier weight that are reputable. And again, the system will figure that out, but also, again, kind of telling the truth in a more balanced view and not just a lie and something that isn't factual that later on, again, with XAI and with X, they're in real time verifying source information, and they're incorporating Grok AI to validate information after the fact and make sure that it's real. And then confirm, all right, who are all the people and what's the percentage of accuracy and How much double checking do we need to do in order to be able to confirm whether or not this is factual? You're going to be able to start doing real-time news research to determine sourcing and determining accuracy and reputation. And you're going to be able to do it so much better. And Grokpedia will take and build out this infrastructure quicker than anybody could imagine. And you won't have woke assholes controlling what people believe and perceive. So that's going to happen across news. That's going to happen across Wikipedia. All these things are getting destroyed. It's going to be utterly beautiful. We have version 4 superchargers that require one cabinet versus multiple cabinets. Look at this. So over here, look at all the infrastructure that was set up for these. Look at that. All of that just for this. Now look at this tiny cabinet for all of these. It's quite a bit different. It shows how first principles help in so many different ways. We've got, again, bulletproof. The windows aren't bulletproof, but does that matter? The entire back is bulletproof. This is bulletproof. The only area that isn't is right here and then right here. You can actually duck and survive if somebody's shooting at you and not get shot in your car because your car is fucking aluminum. So this is cool. You're going to see a lot more police vehicles, I think, like this in the future. I also thought this was an amazing request, and I could see this being a thing in the future, so I just wanted to voice it here. It says, can you please upload the voice of a relative or a loved one to be our Grok voice? I'd like my grandfather to read me the news in the morning as I'm getting ready. Right now, I ask Grok to give me a synopsis of the most important world news each morning as I'm getting ready. Having my loved one read that to me would be something that I would value greatly. I know it seems odd, but I miss him. I wish I could talk to him again. I could totally see this. It's weird, right? But think about somebody you love and that you'd like to speak to again. This is a really cool idea. It's really fucking cool. And I could see that happening. We also have Flight 11 on October 13th for Starship. There's so much happening right now, guys. I mean, just think about this. 1 million robotaxis in operation is one of the incentives. 10 million active FSD subscriptions is another incentive for Elon Musk. 20 million vehicles delivered is another one, and 1 million robots in the real world. It's all coming. Canaccord raised their price target for Tesla just yesterday to $490. And again, revenue per employee, we looked at this the other day, is really low right now for Tesla, and it can grow a lot. I think it can be more than NVIDIA's. I think it will be. So just remember that. That's kind of important. All right, real quickly, I'm going to jump over here to Solana. Crypto.com to launch $400 million Solana treasury. That's pretty cool. I think that will just pull money into Solana. And then again, we've got Solana ETFs getting closer. Let's listen real quickly to my friend Lark Davis talk about that for 49 seconds.
Hey, Solana holders. Big news. Bunch of updated filings for the Solana ETF prospectuses, signs movement from issuers in the SEC. This is a continuation of movement, right? A lot of things have been happening behind the scenes. The conversation's going on. Listen to this. James, and this is a job watching ETFs. He says, getting closer, Solana ETFs likely coming into an exchange near you in days, weeks. Keep in mind, the filing date.
And you guys got to realize that he's been very accurate in the past about those predictions. Not Clark, but I think it was Eric, whoever the ETF guy.
Dates, okay? Fidelity's Solana ETF final deadline, along with the Franklin Templeton Solana ETF final deadline, October 10th. We're 11 days away from a likely approval for a Solana ETF. I feel like the market's not pricing that in when I look at the Solana chart.
And then we got a whole series of others that are optionally included on the 16th. So you could just see a ton of ETFs coming alive for Solana in a very short period of time. That sounds pretty enticing, I'm not going to lie.
Right now, I'm like, you're telling me we're a few days away from a Solana ETF, and this is what the chart looks like? Come on, crypto. Hey, Solana holders. Big news. Bunch of updated filings for the Solana ETF prospectuses, signs movement from issuers in the SEC. This is...
I'm letting it repeat. Can't do that. Oh, okay. Here, so major ETF firms. Again, here's just a bunch of them from this post. Yeah, and I just wanted to point this out. So I said, hey, it would be interesting if we had this inverse head and shoulders on Solana, and I think we are, and I really love that. So right over here, we very much dipped down, and again, it might not fill the whole way. I actually think we're probably done dropping. And so it kind of looks like how my nuts look right now after I had a little bit chopped over here. No, I'm kidding. But it very much looks like the measured move is the .618 golden retracement zone. And again, the golden ratio, yes, I'll try and do a post. I think I have one on here. I might be able to find it real quickly and show it to you. But I think that this is the measured move, $650. And so at a minimum, I think we're going up, 200% from where we're at. And I think that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty awesome. I like to see it, and I might try and apply more capital to that. Because again, if we go up at least 200%, if I've got SOLT, it's probably 300% return over that period of time. Maybe more, depending on how quickly it gets there. And so 300% sounds really nice to me right now. I think I've got $600,000 in it. And so that would be several $1 million in profit in a very short period of time, and I wouldn't hate it. And I think it can go up to 1,000. I think SOLT's the way to go here. But there's other ones too. There's DFDV and UPEXI, UPXI. So there's a couple ways to play it. But yeah, so I'm excited about that. I think that's probably going to be a good thing. And again, do really well. And I don't hate that. Let's get back over here. Let's go to Ethereum real quick. So again, good things coming for Solana. ETFs over the next week or two. Colin said Swift, the messaging backbone of 11,000 banks and moving 150 trillion. I talked about this the other day, but again, in Linea, I don't know, whatever. It's an Ethereum layer 2, and they're talking about using this for on-chain messaging and settlement tests for some of these major banks for the Swift system. It's a really big deal. We talked about this too. Just everybody's building on Ethereum, and I don't think Tom Lee's wrong. I think this is going to end up doing really well. Jack said, Sol Strategy, anyone know what's going on? Worth being patient? I haven't really paid attention to it for a while. They were doing like a multitude of different cryptos, not Solana. So that got too weird for me, and I just stayed away. Anyway, let's look here, see if there's anything else we want to talk about. Metaplanet, I should probably talk about that real quickly. So I just wanted to talk about this. So Simon put this out. The forecast revision represents a 100% increase in revenue and 88% increase in operating profit compared to prior guidance. So these guys are telling you they're going to outperform. Again, they're doing things in order to increase revenue, and they've done that. If you look over here, record revenues in Q3 of 2025. Look at this. Like, this is good, and Q4 is probably going to be even better. And so this is going to switch the narrative soon. This is the fourth largest Bitcoin treasury company on Earth. They finally hit the 30,823 mark. They did get above SEPO, the Bitcoin Standard Treasury Company, and Bullish, and Riot Platforms, and Trump Media and Technology, and CleanSpark, and Coinbase, and Tesla. All these other companies, I mean, they're number 4 now for holding Bitcoin. I think that's really impressive. They have a goal for 100,000 Bitcoin by the end of 2026. And again, they got to this revised upward goal of 30 very quickly. I don't think they're done yet. I think they'll let that multiplier increase, and then they'll do another rapid fire round once volume starts to really come in. And they'll be increasing their revenues too, using their strategies for hedging. And I think it's going to all be good stuff. I think Metaplanet is set to go a lot higher. I love Dylan LeClaire. I think these are good people. And I think they can do really well here in the months ahead. Let's keep going. Let's see if there's anything else here. Yeah, Bitcoin purchase daily. Again, just look at where they're at. It's just crazy. But I'd like to see the premium go up. I think that'll help a lot. I think that's probably it. What are we at? 8:07? We're a little early. Oh, let's see how some things are sitting here. Let's look at the ETH BTC ratio. I'm actually kind of excited about this, guys. I think we're nearing a point for the first time in a very long time, outside of this one little blip here in September of 2022, where the ETH BTC ratio really started to get a good breakout. We have not had that this time. Again, massive breakouts in 2017, guys. Just crazy fucking numbers and a double top. In February of 2018, well after the Bitcoin cycle had ended, Ethereum was still launching and people thought that it was going to flip. Bitcoin. But again, then we went way down here. We established our bottom. So bottom, broke above, support. Then we went way up here, hit the trend line, just grinded all the way down here, dropped hard, hit support. We have not had a real breakout. We should be at least up here to the .618. That's where the golden ratio wants to go. And that is a long ways away from where we are right now. So again, this is how you get the multiplier behind Ethereum versus Bitcoin and the size difference. This is how you get it. This is the time. Bought BMNU, 2x leverage on BMNR. That does sound fun. Let's look at BMNR again. So what we're saying here is that we think BMNR can go at least, well, I got to adjust this because it's already up 3.83%. But I think, what I'm telling you is I think BMNR, and look at this volume, it's right underneath of us. It's like perfect place, right? But I think it can go 168% to 316%. So we're saying maybe a 200% pretty easily, right? That would get us to the previous high, if not more. And then if you're running this, and again, I don't know if it has big volume. We got to look. But if you're running this BMNR version, the BMNU, you're getting 2x leverage. And so you could get 300% maybe. We could get a 300% return on this move, 300 to 600%, or I'm sorry, 300 to 500% or something like that. That would be pretty good for the cycle. That wouldn't be bad at all. Not a bad idea. If you're gonna do it, now is probably the time to do it. I'm looking at my TSLL and sold. TSLL seems a little rich for me right now. I probably wouldn't be holding that. Not that we can't go higher. Again, if we go up to the 500s, that's fucking awesome. Then you'll be really happy that you hold it. And we could do that. Let me just look at Tesla. I probably shouldn't say that. It's probably just too random of a thought. So this does, to me, seem very Palantir-y. And what I mean by that is we had our breakout, we hit our measured move, and now we're consolidating above, again, this like 5-year zone, this blue box. We're consolidating above that on the weekly time frame. But to me, this seems like a consolidation where it's still going to try and make its measured move up to the 540. And then I wouldn't be in TSLL. If it even gets to the 500s, I would probably just be in the stock personally, man. But SOLT, I think, is going to be really good. ETH, I don't really play around with, so I don't know how liquid that one is. You said also in September, rotated back into miners with MRAL, Riox, and CleanSpark, and recently added CoreWeave. Yeah, just watch out with the multipliers. I think you should start dialing out of those. And again, you do you. It's not financial advice. But personally, I would slowly be dialing out of those. And then more aggressively as we hit targets. Because, again, it's just one of those things where it's fun to ride them up. But once they start to go down, man, do they fucking hurt. You want to sell those on the ways up. I don't like the concept of orbs. I don't like anything where Sam Altman's trying to get my fucking eye. So I'm not big on that at all. I think he's a dipshit. I think he's a fucking horrible person. And I don't like the idea of that. But yeah, maybe what was that? BMNU. Maybe that's a fun play. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should do a little bit of BMNU, like consolidate some of my BMNR into BMNU, and then I might want to throw a little bit of that too into SOLT. I might do that, even though SOLT is up like 10% today or some shit. I might still want to do that. Very interesting. Yeah, maybe at open. We're still 15 minutes away from open, guys. I don't have a lot more to talk to you about. I might just call it right here and let you guys maybe jump over to Amit. He does his morning show, and he's great to listen to if you still want to hear something. But I'm very bullish right now. I'm very excited. Very excited, guys. Very excited about what's happening. And it's going to be a time where you can make a lot of money, and if you were patient, you're gonna be able to benefit from that patience and then watch irrational exuberance form. And why am I saying that? Because the stock market right now is in neutral. I think it could maybe even go towards fear. And I think with crypto, I think we're seeing that rotation from gold now into crypto. And I think with us just getting out of fear, again, we could spend 6 weeks in extreme greed, and we just got out of fear. We got all of neutral, we got all of greed, and we got all of extreme greed. And if you look over here, guys, when you're coming out of this fear area, like over here, that was October of 2024. And then we didn't fall down and really start to fall until December 10th. So this was essentially 9 to 10 weeks of upside, if you count back over here too. 10 weeks of upside. And then over here, again, we weren't even in extreme fear, but if we count over here to 124 of 2024, we didn't exit that until 4/2. So again, like 10 weeks. So we can have 6 to 10 weeks that are beautiful. And I think you should enjoy them. And then you should be out and then looking at the next thing. And we're going to be talking about what that is here and the weeks and months ahead. So I love you guys. I hope you have a great day. We're going to go out with a little bit of a banger and some more music here. So stick around for a couple minutes if you want to hear it. Peace out, guys.
Completely devastated. Bitcoin goes to the moon. Don't you know, pump it up. You've got to pump it up. Don't you know, pump it up.